we now look at paragraph 16. You divide the motivations into 3 categories: mischief, money, political influence. And in your view, in paragraph 18, maybe you can tell us a little bit more. A lot of fakes are created for money. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. Something we saw in the US election cycle in particular, which I'll refer to because it's been particularly well documented, is that there were groups of individuals around the world who were using the power of the internet in general, and particularly of Google and Facebook and their advertising systems. And they were writing stories which were deliberately false about the political campaign and about the candidates. And the sole purpose was to generate income from getting advertising clicks. And therefore, their incentive was to write stories which would be popular, which would spread very widely, which would generate lots of clicks, because there was a direct correlation between the number of clicks and the amount of money they would make. Because this was entirely commercially driven, there was no intrinsic political bias in the actors themselves, and there are documented cases where some of these fake news merchants started off by writing lots of stories, positive stories about Hillary Clinton, realizing that nobody was picking up on sharing them, writing negative stories about Clinton and realizing that those were being spread much more. These were all works of fiction. So if you like, it's a fiction market. And the indicator of success is the number of clicks you get. And then they're reacting to those clicks and seeing what stories spread best and then trying to replicate those stories. So it was very much a black market driven economy, if you like. But it was based on creating works of creating works of fiction, passing them off as news and spreading them around to get lots of clicks.
Thank you. And you say in paragraph 24 that there is a category of authors of false stories who are politically motivated, and they can be internal to a country or external. Would you help us with that? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Okay, so if you like, the most direct reason for writing a false story about a political situation is if you are involved in that political situation. You either want to support a candidate or you want to denigrate a candidate. And one way of doing so is to make up a story, to make up something which is completely false and try and spread that as far as possible. We saw that, again, a lot in the US election, and again, I refer to that because it's been so well documented. But there were conspiracy theories about Hillary Clinton in particular, which were entirely fabricated. They were based on leaked documents which were then misinterpreted and deliberately distorted to say something which the document did not say. But these were being created by opponents of Hillary Clinton in the United States, not official opponents. These were largely online activists whose self-perception was that they could gain more power and more influence by spreading false stories online. And so they were, again, making up stories about Clinton. What we also saw in combination that was the activity of the various troll factories in Russia, which were also slanting and making up attacks on Clinton. For the political purpose of denigrating Clinton and weakening her candidacy. So there you have both an internal group and an external group whose modus operandi is the same. They are both making up false stories about a candidate in order to weaken them. And they're using very much the same networks and techniques.
Thank you. If we look at paragraph 28 over the page, you refer to thousands of Twitter and Facebook accounts which appear to belong to members of the alternate right and opposed to the Black Lives Matter campaign. And you say that these were in fact run from a troll factory or IRA in St. Petersburg. The purpose is also to deepen the divides between the African American community and the police and to attack the police as an institution?
That's right. And if you look at the whole span of the Russian operation, the troll farm operation from 2014 to 17, it had several purposes. The most direct was to attack Hillary Clinton. As the campaign evolved, it became more and more directly supporting Donald Trump as well. But at the same time as that was going on, you also had a systematic attempt to further inflame already inflamed social divides in the US. And there were a number of different communities which were targeted for this. A lot of effort was put into the Black Lives Matter campaign and to widening the divide between Black Lives Matter and the police. So, for example, the Troll Factory was running Instagram accounts which were in favor of Black Lives Matter, and it was running Instagram accounts which were arguing in favor of the police and the right to shoot Black Lives Matter. So it was pushing both sides. In the same way on gun control, when you had, for example, the San Bernardino mass shooting in California on the 3rd of December 2015, you had accounts from the Troll Factory on Twitter which used the occasion to push for gun control. And you had accounts from the Troll Factory also on Twitter which were using the occasion to argue that gun control is pointless and you should have more guns. And so right the way through, from the very start, there was an attempt to further polarize already polarized communities. And one of the very first deliberate fakes which the Troll Factory published was on the 13th of December 2014, so going back a very long way. And this was a fake video which purported to show the moment when an African-American woman was shot by a policeman in Atlanta, Georgia. So already in December 2014, only a few months into the operation, that kind of message was already being amplified and created.
And you've given some numbers in paragraph 29. You say that Troll Factory managed at least 3,814 troll accounts and over 50,000 bot accounts, and more than 1.4 million American users are known to have interacted with these accounts in some way. And according to Facebook, the Troll Factory ran at least 470 accounts, spent 100,000 in advertising, and the posts reached 126 million Americans. That's extensive reach for a relatively small sum of money.
It is, and this goes back to the point that I made in the early paragraphs about the relative cheapness of doing this. It was a long-running campaign. Not all those engagements would have been positive. Some of the engagements would have been genuine American internet users pushing back. But for a relatively small sum up front, they did achieve a very large reach, and we still don't have the full picture. We still don't have a complete list of every single account run by the Troll Factory. As of October 2017, a Russian investigative journalism outlet called RBK did a long report exposing some of the workings of the troll farm, and they interviewed current trolls after Facebook and Twitter had shut down a lot of the accounts that we know about, and the trolls said, we still have accounts which reach 1 million people. So even after the different rounds of shutdowns which have gone on, as far as we know, the troll farm teams are still working, they still have accounts, and so the challenge now is to find those accounts.
Yes. Can we look at paragraphs 33 and 34, and can you explain those two paragraphs a little bit to us, please?
Say again, sorry?
Paragraphs 33 and 34, can you tell us a little bit more about what you say there?
So, on social media, fake accounts are the foot soldiers of the information campaign, and they are used in two main ways. They can be used to create a message. This would be the troll accounts. They'll masquerade as somebody who is a member of the target population. They will try and infiltrate that target population by interacting with genuine members of the community. They will try and build up a following in that group. And then they can try and insert their biased or false information into that group in order to try and influence it, steer it in a particular political direction. You also have the bot accounts, which are mostly or entirely automated, and they're used as amplifiers. There's a well-known bot user in the American alt-right who is on the record as saying all you need is about 1,000 bots. If you use those to give a tweet 1,000 retweets, then genuine users will look at it and think that that must be a credible tweet, and therefore they are more likely to share it. And so the bots serve as an amplifier, and they serve as an extra badge of authentication and amplification for individual posts. And then you have the bots and the trolls working together to create divisive messages or political messages, push them out into the larger ecosystem.